I'll run right back out. So we're going to be camping until next Wednesday.
I saw Nadine this morning. I said, "Welcome back." I'm glad. I bet you're glad to come back to this March weather. You know.
I bet she is too.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the folks at home have joined us. Welcome, everyone, and good afternoon on this May 27th of 2021. I'm Mayor Diana Broderson. Welcome to our city. Hey, thanks for joining us on this rainy May 27th. It has changed some plans, that's for sure. This is the last our city show of the month. And as you know, that is always designated for an update on our Grandview revitalization project, which includes the reconstruction piece of it. And so today we're going to focus mainly on the reconstruction project. And we'll get to that in just a second. I had just a few announcements. Please note to everyone, I'm sure you all know that the vaccine is readily available now. Contact your local pharmacy, contact your primary care physician, and you should be able to get your vaccine, anybody 12 and up. Western Drug is having Pfizer Friday. So every Friday, you can just drop in from 10 to 5, I believe, 10 to 5:30 and get a vaccine without any appointment necessary. There's going to be other opportunities coming up here soon as well. Well, tonight I was going to be able to share with you, or this afternoon, about the Almost Friday Fest, which the very first one is supposed to be tonight, but the weather didn't cooperate. And so unfortunately, they have had to cancel tonight's event, but they are looking at rescheduling the entertainment for down the road. And they are really asking everybody to join us again for June 24th. And we will have a great time at the Almost Friday Fest. I wanted to let everybody know today was also the last day of school in Muscatine. So congratulations to our high school graduates, to our junior high school graduates, preschool, grade school, all of that. I know you've all tried and worked really hard, and big thanks to all of our educators and their entire school staff. It's been a trying year for everybody, and with everyone pulling together and doing the best that they can for our youth, I think everybody can agree that it was a great success. So big thanks to everybody. And let's have a wonderful summer. Looking forward to all of the good things coming up. Ball season's in swing, soccer. And on Saturday, the Muscatine Aquatic Center opens up for the first time in 2 years. My goodness, I bet it's going to be packed. Hopefully the weather cooperates for that. But we're glad and know that a lot of people are really looking forward to going to the pool this summer. So I wanted to get right to our guest now. We have Brian Stineman with us. He's the Muscatine, I almost said it again, Public Works Director. I don't know why I've got it. I've got the focus on the wrong spot, Brian, but Brian's been our Public Works Director for, oh my goodness, 4 years now?
Almost 5.
Almost 5. Wow. Yeah. And he does everything. I mean, you can't imagine all of the different departments in the city that are under his purview. So he's got a lot of balls in the air that he's trying to keep up there and serve the people in the community. So welcome and thanks for coming today, Brian.
Sure, thanks for inviting me.
So the Grandview construction project, we get a lot of calls every day, people trying to figure out what's going on down there, how to navigate it. And what I have found, even just for me, the best way to keep up on everything that's going on is through the press releases. It looks like you've been doing a great job, your department, your whole team, at making sure the communications department knows when things are going to be closed and open and really getting that information out to the public.
Yeah, thank you. We have been trying to do that as much as possible. We've learned a lot of lessons from starting on Mississippi Drive and working our way downstream, if you will. So yeah, obviously very important to keep the public, keep the businesses in mind. We try not to hurt any businesses. You know, we don't want people to lose out. So we do meet with the business owners weekly. We listen to their concerns. We try to take care of them as much as possible, address any issues that they have, and communication is a key aspect of that. So we do have Kevin Jennison, our communications director, attends those meetings as well. He also attends the weekly construction meetings that we have with the contractor so that he can keep the most up-to-date information out there for the public so that they can do what they can to stay down there and support those businesses that are affected by this construction project.
Well, and one thing I know that was very successful down on the Second Street project was having that weekly meeting for the public to be able to come and actually talk to public works staff, talk to the contractor, and really just ask direct questions right then and there and get your answers. Now that's also going on down in Grandview, down at the old Taco John's, isn't it?
That's correct. Every Friday morning at 9 o'clock, the contractor, city staff, and anybody who would like to is welcome to stop by and get an update from the contractor and then ask any questions that pertain to them or their business. So yeah, we put that forum out there so that we can get direct input from folks so that we can better serve them.
And I've heard great things about that meeting and people feeling comfortable that they have that direct access anytime. But can you give us just, for those folks that really don't understand or haven't been quite up to date on what's going on, what is the whole overall of the project for Grandview?
Sure. The overall goal of the project is to make it a safer roadway for motorists, for pedestrians, for business owners, drivers, if you will. So it's similar to what we did on Mississippi Drive, where we took out the 4-lane section where cars and trucks could go pretty much unimpeded up and down that road as quickly as they chose to go. What we want to do is make this more inviting for other methods of transportation, be it walking or bicycling. If you're familiar with Grandview, you know that the sidewalk down there is not in very good shape. It's right next to the street. It makes it hazardous to be a pedestrian down there. And there are plenty of businesses and residential areas that are close by that can really benefit from being able to walk to each other and access it that way. It's also difficult to cross the street when you have 4 lanes of traffic, because once you get across 2 lanes, then you got to stop and get cars from the other direction. And without refuge in the middle, with those wide lanes and those higher speeds, it can be very difficult for pedestrians to get across the street. So this project has been designed to make it a 3-lane cross section through there with a center turn lane, to add and widen the sidewalks to make them ADA compliant for all users, to create crosswalks at the intersections that have refuge for people that are walking or biking, so that they can stop in between, so that you only have to worry about crossing 1 lane of traffic at a time. So you look left, you cross, you stop in the middle, you look right, you cross, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So it enhances the safety dramatically. That's the primary goal, and then the secondary goal is to beautify it down there. It was a state highway for years and years and years, so it was pretty industrial looking, I guess. And so what we're trying to do is bring some of those streetscape aesthetics that we implemented on Mississippi Drive with the brickwork, with some vegetation, some plantings, some lighted signs, and make it kind of a homier and give it a more of a downtown feel, so that it kind of flows from the south end at 61 bypass all the way up through downtown to Mulberry towards the roundabout. So give it a continuous feel and make it a unique roadway that we can call our own here in Muscatine.
So when you're coming up from the south up on 61 and you get to the intersection of the bypass, if you turn and go onto the bypass, so is that basically the business or the bypass around the business district going through, and is Grandview Avenue the business district of 61?
Yes. Grandview and all downtown is business 61, or what it would have been called that. Now that if it was still a state road, that's what they've called it. Now that it's not, it's a city road. The state has transferred over the jurisdiction to the city, so now it's just Grandview Avenue or Mississippi Drive. It no longer has that business association with it like you would on a business 61, like other.
Oh, it doesn't. So when we took over the maintenance of it, that ended.
Yes.
Okay. So 61 then theoretically does turn and go the bypass.
It is correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what of the reconstruction project we're talking about, from the bypass to where?
From the bypass to Pearl Street is the project limits at this time. Right now, when we started the project, that was the goal, is to go into the bypass. What we realized during planning is that once you get out past Hauser Street, um, your usage level drops, the residential area goes away. So really what you're dealing with out there is it can be more of an open cross section. You don't necessarily have to have the sidewalks and those medians like we do closer into town. So at the Grandview section, there'll be some signage, some gateway signage, but not as much of the construction as you'll see once you get to Hauser and work your way north, sort of north, towards town. So
Sure.
so that really the main construction limits are from Pearl Street down to just past Hauser Street is where residents will see most of the work happening this year and next year.
And Pearl Street, can you explain where Pearl Street is?
So Pearl is at the corner. I can't think of the name of the business there. That's right there on the corner. Oh shoot!
It's past Green Street, closer to the riverfront, right? It's
yes,
Green.
it's yeah. So we're what we usually call Carver Corner is green. When you turn south from there and the road starts to curve back towards the south, right where you get there is Pearl Street. So Pearl and Main almost intersect, where you would turn left to go up Main to get up to 8th Street. It's just south of that, if you will, south of Main Street is where that Pearl Street intersection is.
So my question was to explain that this does not include Carver Corner.
It does not. No, we at one point we had grand plans to do everything all at one time. The way the Carver Corner input that we got back when we were in the planning phase of this, we weren't quite sure the best way to handle Carver Corner. There was, you probably remember we had talked about a roundabout. There was talk about a sweep curve, trying to get rid of that weird intersection there at Green Street and Hershey. That was never unanimously decided. In order to keep the project moving along, we just decided to leave that out, and we could come back to that, whether it's with a new development there or the city decides what we're going to do and we'll just do it. But that's out of the project for now.
Okay. It is really a goofy intersection there, like 5 Points,
Yeah, it's all offset and jag. I've never seen anything quite like it. So I mean,
I think it's because we follow the river, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
they followed the river.
You're bound by topography and the hillside and the bluff there, but yeah, it's kind of weird. I
had some goofy ones.
Yeah, I rode with a guy from out of town that went around the curve going down, and he's like, "Am I in the wrong lane?" I'm like, "Yeah, you are, but nobody's coming, so it's okay for now." But yeah, it can be dangerous, and that's something we do want to address here in the future.
So from Pearl Street down to the bypass, and are you doing it? This is a frequent question I get. Are you doing the whole thing at once? Are you breaking it down into segments? Are you doing one side at a time? How's that working?
Yeah, so it's broken out into a 2-year project phases. So the first phase is from Pearl to just past Musser. That's kind of the area that's torn up right now. And then the next phase next year will be from Musser to just past Hauser, and then the parts out by Grandview. And then there's 2 sections. There's an area we have to do some work at Briar's Ditch that's going to require a complete street closure, and at the railroad tracks that will require a complete road closure. Those are both going to be next year's work phase. So for year 1, which is this year, will go till probably, I would say, around Thanksgiving time. I think we could expect construction to be happening down there till then. What they're doing right now is they're working on what I'll call the north side or the town side of the street. That's where all the water main, the storm sewer, and the sanitary sewer are. So when we do construction, we do the deep stuff first. So the deep stuff is the water main, and then above that is your sewer. Or, I'm sorry, the deep stuff is your sewer, your sanitary sewer, then your storm sewer, then your water main, then you do your street on top of that. So you're kind of building a layers,
Sure.
if you will. So right now they're working on the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer on the town side of the street from Pearl towards Musser.
Okay.
They're about with that work with the I got my notes here. with the storm sewer, they are to Bond Street, and the sanitary sewer, they're only up at Reed Street right now. So they're
Okay.
continuing to work from upstream to downstream, laying the sewer. And once they get the sewer in, then they'll do the water main in those same sections. And then once the water main is done, they can start paving the street. So our contractor right now is thinking he'll be able to pave that north side of the town side sometime probably in August of this summer. And then when that's paved and cured, then we'll be able to open that up to two-way traffic. And then cars can go both ways. So right now, as folks are probably aware, you can only go northbound. It's a one-way going north on Grandview. After August, when that north lane is paved, we'll have two-way traffic on that side, and they'll work on the other side of the road. So that'll hopefully, the businesses will be happy about that, because now we'll get cars going both directions, so they'll get some more drive-through business. And then they'll work on like I said, they'll work on the south side, the river side, throughout the fall and into early winter before they shut down for the year. So.
Well, and I do know that the contractor is doing the best he can to try to keep make it as user friendly as he can throughout this construction as they can, and they even poured some gravel down to try to help, because it really was a muddy mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, and right now where people are driving is the old sidewalk. I mean, basically, because they needed the space to dig that deep sewer, you have to have more space so that your trench doesn't fall in. So they basically built a gravel roadway on the old sidewalk on the south side of Grandview, and that's what folks are driving north on, is that area. And they're doing a good job of keeping that addressed. Those gravel will get some washboards and some potholes. But they're doing their best to keep that smoothed out as good as they can. Right now, we're lucky they don't have to water it for dust issues, because it's been raining for 2 weeks almost straight, which is good and bad. But they are responsible to take care of that as well, so that we don't have dust issues or other issues with that temporary roadway.
Has the rain been slowing them down?
Yeah, a little bit. Where they're at now, working underground, you can get some of that work done in the mud and muck, because you're digging into the mud and muck anyway. But when it pours like it did the other night, where we get a couple inches an hour in a really short time period, that causes problems, because what happens there is you can't prepare for that. You can't handle that kind of water.
Sure.
So it washed some mud into some of the new pipes and things like that. So those have to be cleaned out before they can start over and start adding new pipe to it. So there's a few delays there, but overall they're still maintaining their schedule. So I don't see any issues right now with the weather.
One thing that people ask about all the time is the timeline and if we're on schedule or not. And sometimes it can be tricky to figure out if we're on schedule or not.
Yeah, most of these projects like this are based on what they call working day contracts. So you get X amount of, I don't remember the exact number. Let's just say you have 100 working days, okay? Well, a working day is defined by what they call controlling items. So if you're, like right now, their controlling item is the sanitary sewer. So if they're working on sanitary sewer and it doesn't rain, they're charged a working day for that. If it rains and you can't work, you're not charged a working day for that. So like today, they got washed out this morning, so they quit. So they don't get charged a day. So we don't have a firm end date for this project. Like we don't say like December 31st, you have to be done. What we're saying is you have 100 working days to do it. So it might take them 150 actual calendar days, but you only have, those might only be 100 working days. It's kind of complicated. If you're not in the industry, I can see how folks can get confused by that.
Yep.
And also, if their controlling item, let's say, is sewer, they can't work on sewer because it rained, but they might be able to do something over here like that's unrelated. They can work on all that and get ahead with that work, but it doesn't charge them a working day for that because the controlling item is something else.
Sure.
So there's pluses and minuses to that. Usually we don't run up against a lot of trouble with working day contracts because they can normally get their work done in those days. It's more complicated. It's not more complicated, but it's a little more difficult for contractors when they have a calendar day contract or a strict end date, because they can only build in so many rain days in that, and they have to keep working because they have to be done by like October 1st, or something like that. So I would say right now, Grandview is still on schedule, even though we've had some rain. There's enough flexibility in that schedule that they gave us to say that they're still within that realm. Like I said, I still think I would anticipate them working till up to Thanksgiving, and then depending on the weather conditions, if it stays warm in December, we've allowed them to work up to Christmas. As long as they can get concrete and not have freezing temperatures, and then they want to work, we allow them to work. So that's just more work that they get done that year and less to work on next year. So
Sure.
there's give and take with those things, but like I said, as of now, they're doing okay with their schedule.
Good. So if people hear, it's a 100 workday contract and they go and it started on May 1 and then they go and count out 100 days, that's not going to work.
It's not the same. No,
it's not the same. And so that could be where people are getting confused.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, like I said, if you're not familiar with construction documents, things like that, it can be confusing. And the best thing to do is if you have a question like that, stop at the meeting or give us a call at Public Works and we can explain it and help you through it. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you brought a drone video. Is this a good time to show that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I asked the police department yesterday if they could fly the project area for us, just to kind of give folks an overview of what it looks like down there. They did it this morning, actually, I think. So it's a little bit gray because it was cloudy this morning, but they got it done before it rained. So yeah, if you guys want to roll that, that'd be great.
Okay, it looks like it's coming up.
And I guess I could get a little bit of narration, but really all they did was they started up at Pearl and flew the drone to the south and just kind of, nice and steady, and just, took some aerial footage of what we're doing. So it's a great tool that we have. I'm glad that we have that drone. We're able to do that. And my plan is to fly it periodically and just kind of, document the progress so that we can maybe time lapse it later on and show folks, what this project went from.
I think that'll be great.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Now, I think the folks at home are being able to see it right now, even though you and I can't. Can you narrate it blind?
No, I can't. Starting from upstream and going downstream.
There you go.
Yeah, so really what you'll see there is you can see the one-way going north. There you can see the sewer crews are working right now laying pipe. Some of the pipe is laid out there on the roadway, so you'll be able to see that. And there's a couple different excavation points where they're working on sanitary sewer and storm sewer. There's also a MPW water crew out there. They're installing some valves so that we have to move a little bit of their water main around some of our storm sewer. So we're working with them to get that done, and they're doing that work on their own. So yeah, it's just kind of a 1,000-foot view of the project.
Well, and I think you mentioned something really important for the public to know too. We work collaboratively with other places. So like MPW, if we're working there and they have something that's on their to-do list, they're going to jump in there and do it while we've already got it dug up and save the taxpayers more money.
Absolutely. Yeah, we try to coordinate these as much as we can. We started planning this Grandview project 2 years ago. We worked with Alliant Energy. They had some gas line that they wanted to move on there and replace. So they were working on that last year. Folks might have seen them on the sides of the streets there. So that's moved out of the way. And then, like I said, Power and Water has some water main that they wanted to address. So yeah, it's a collaborative effort. We try to, what we hate to do is build a new street and then come in a month or a year later and tear it all up again and have to fix something. It's inconvenient for everybody. It makes us look bad. And sometimes it's unavoidable. Things break, some
stuff happens.
Old, but we try like heck to avoid that. And so that's one of those things that we communicate about with those other utilities as much as possible to avoid those situations.
Well, and a lot of times people will call me and ask about, what about the businesses down there? But you guys really do a good job of communicating with each and every business in the area that you're working, don't you?
We certainly try. It's like we said, we know that it creates problems for them. We're empathetic to that. We're definitely not out to hurt anybody. We're trying to help the community overall. And some of these things, have negative effects on businesses or residents too. I mean, if we're tearing up a street in front of your driveway, it's an inconvenience to you. We We get that. We're not evil people trying to be mean.
Yeah.
We're trying to, work with you and everybody as much as we can. But the end goal is to, improve the roadway, and that's where we have to get to. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, communication is key. We try and we try to accommodate everybody as much as possible. Whether it be signage or we've got a great piece on our website now that shows all the businesses where they're located, so you can click on that and it tells you how to get there. That's all on the city website. If you go to the construction page under Public Works, you can find all that information. Yeah, the plans and specs are all on our website, so people can look at those and see, how it would affect them. And we're always open to telephone calls or stopping in or coming to the meeting too. We want to hear from the public. Like I say this all the time. If we don't know about it, we can't help. We can't fix it. So the more information that we get, the better off we all are. So yeah, but we try our best.
And I really think, like you're saying, the transparency about what's going on in the communication to everyone in a variety of formats, through press releases, social media, the meetings on site, the website, phone calls. I know if people couldn't even make the meeting, you guys have tried to make accommodations and meet with them at a different time that does meet their schedule. So I think, that is really going over and beyond, what would be expected to try to accommodate everybody in that area, with the hope that when it's all done, maybe everybody down there will even get more traffic because it's a better road.
Yeah, that's the end goal, is to make it better for everybody. I mean, the whole community, visitors to the community. I mean, I think everybody's going to benefit. I think it's just going to revitalize. That's part of the plan, and all the whole revitalization, of that part of town this is a key component of that. And we're looking forward to, very excited to see how it turns out. But I think people are going to really like it when it's done.
I do too. And this is a huge project. This is not just a street repair thing. This is a big, major project that's been really needed for as long as I can remember. Yeah,
agreed. I mean, it's like you said, it's more than just a street. It's a neighborhood. It's a community project. This is one piece of the whole puzzle. But yeah, to put this in there and have it kind of be the gateway and get folks out through there better, I think it's just going to be a huge catalyst for the whole area.
I do too. And boy, you've really got a lot on your plate right now, Brian, with this going on with the sewer separation project, Park Avenue.
Yeah.
Do you ever get a day off?
I do. I got a couple days coming up here in June. I'm going to take off. It's my wife and I's anniversary, so we're gonna get away for a little while.
Well, happy anniversary! You deserve it with all this stuff, and I know you're always the first one to share that you have a whole team working with you to make this work.
Yes, definitely. We've got staff engineers. We've got our consultants that helped us design this. We work with outside agencies. Yeah, it's not just me. I mean, I'm just the guy, with my name on the door, if you will. But I don't want the credit. I want to share that with everybody else. We've got a fantastic team at Public Works, from our roadway guys, like I said, to the engineers. Everybody pulls together to make these type of things happen. So very proud of our team here, and I think we do a great job. And I appreciate you recognizing that and spreading the word for us.
You absolutely do have a great team. None of this could happen the way it does without everybody working together.
Absolutely.
Yep. And we appreciate it. And even if I know sometimes people might be crabby because they can't get through or it takes longer, I think, when it comes right down to it, everybody appreciates the hard work and they know in the long run it'll be worth it. But we all have our days when we might get a little frustrated with construction, and that's everywhere in the whole wide world. But it'll be better after.
Yeah, we're not unique in that aspect. You're right. Everybody has construction somewhere. So yeah.
That's right. And I try to remind people every time I get a call, we live in the Midwest and we don't get to work 12 months out of the year on our roads. So we have to squeeze it all in to half a year. Yeah. And so, if we're lucky, we can get more than half a year in, but we're in the Midwest. We have bad winters, so you can't be out there working on streets.
Nope, absolutely. We do what we can when we can do it. So
do what we can when we can do it. Yep. Well, is there anything that people need to know what's coming up next?
So we continue to work on Grandview. Obviously, like I said, that'll go. Hopefully, we'll have two-way traffic by August. The
Okay.
West Hill Sewer Separation Project is moving pretty slowly right now. We've hit some groundwater issues. They
Mm.
are going to plan to close 8th Street between Clymer and Lucas starting next Tuesday after the holiday.
Oh,
So
okay.
we do have our message boards are out there notifying folks of that. So plan accordingly for that. You won't be able to get up 8th Street in that section starting after next week. Our Park Avenue project continues. We've had some sewer issues that we've discovered on that. So right now the intersection of Washington and Park Avenue on the west side is closed. I expect that to remain closed for probably another week or two because we've got to fix a collapsed manhole in there and then repave it. And then up the line farther, that we have another sanitary sewer issue that we have to address while we've got the road under construction. So that'll be another couple of weeks. Once they get through the Washington Street intersection, the contractor plans to then mill and overlay asphalt on Park Avenue from basically from the bridge all the way up to Washington Street.
Oh,
So
wow. That's a
yeah,
big chunk.
and then that will be paint striped and the signals will be put into active. So probably by, I believe that would be like the end of June or the first couple weeks of July, they'll be able to have that section to the three lane configuration. So that'll be nice. That kind of shows some progress on that. And then that project should be hopefully finished by end of July, maybe the early part of August, all the way over to Colorado, Clay, Colorado Street.
Okay.
And then
That's
we're
coming
still,
along
yeah,
quick.
it is. It's going pretty well too. And then we're still kind of hopping around town with our asphalt overlay and our full depth patch projects. Folks have hopefully noticed Washington Street has been repaved now. So that's nice and smooth finally. The rain just really killed that project. We should have been done 2 weeks ago, but you can't lay asphalt in the rain. So it's just been delay after delay after delay for that. Hauser Street has a base in it now from Cedar to Mulberry. They will be putting the surface on that next Friday and Saturday. That'd be June 4th and 5th. They'll hopefully have that street paved to the surface. They are doing some of the smaller streets around town, and then I know they paved James Place. They're paving a couple of the alleys. So that will wrap up by June 30th. Our full depth patch crew is going to move to Fulham from Kindler to Devitt and start full depth patching on concrete over there. That'll take a couple of weeks, and then they will be done by the end of June as well. And then in that meantime, we will have a new project contracts go out for bid for asphalt overlay and full depth patch that will then be awarded in July. And the contractor will have start over again in July doing more full depth patch and more asphalt overlay. So that'll catch us up from last year because we kind of paused everything because of COVID. So we've caught back up now, and then we'll be back on track starting after July 1st. So that's in a nutshell. That's pretty much, it's a lot. I mean, there's a
It's
lot
a
of
lot.
spots torn up around town, and I get those calls. And like I said before, we're not doing it on purpose. We're not trying to do it all at once to make people's lives miserable. It's just we have the funds now and we have the ability to do it this time of year. So that's what we're doing. So
Got to get it done.
hopefully they'll enjoy the improvements when they're done.
And mostly all of the inconvenience can be accommodated with leaving a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And remembering, paying attention to the press releases and knowing what's closed, what's open, and leaving a little bit earlier to accommodate, and you should be able to get through it smoothly.
Yep, absolutely. And be cautious in construction areas. I mean,
Oh my goodness,
those are
yes.
workers that are in there. They're putting their lives on the line in some cases for the better the city streets and the community. And they work close to the traffic, and it's not always safe for them. Sometimes it's dangerous. So please be aware of that. And if you see somebody in a safety vest, slow down and give them a little space so they don't get hurt. They're trying to help out our community as well. So just be patient.
Turn off your devices in construction zones.
Absolutely, yes.
So you are not paying attention to anything but them. So they can get home to their families that night too.
Absolutely.
Yep. But you did bring up one good point, and we can end with that. I think we need to all remember, when you are doing these big projects and you dig down in there, sometimes you find things that you didn't know were there that are a problem. And so you're like, oh, wow, we didn't know this was all busted up, and now we have to fix this. So that's going to add on time also, isn't it?
It does. Yeah, that reminds me, I forgot to mention Second Street, but we when we dug down to fix a sewer on Second Street, we found a giant tree under the ground, like 12 feet down, that had been there I don't know how long. Usually you don't bury a tree when you do a construction project, but they found one laying alongside the storm sewer. So yeah, those kind of weird things that you find, especially in downtown. We found trolley tracks, we found old pipes, we found all kinds of weird things. Mussel shells, believe it or not, surprising around here to find mussel shells, right? And buttons everywhere.
Yeah.
But a lot of that we run into. But just one more update that for Second Street, the contractor has the block on Second Street from Sycamore to Iowa is closed right now. We do have to fix a sanitary sewer service there we were not aware of that had broken, so that is going to be repaired. So that will happen starting they'll have that street closed until June 14th. And then starting on June 14th, they will open up Second Street between Sycamore and Iowa, but then they will be closing down the intersection of Iowa Avenue to work on that intersection. That intersection gets completely reconstructed. If you've driven that, you know why it needs that pretty badly. So that'll be our next delay and headache. Will be Iowa Avenue will be closed for a few weeks, and we'll get those dates out and make all that public here coming up. But that's just the next step in that project. So
Yeah.
I forgot that.
That's a heavily traveled intersection, that whole roadway there on Iowa.
It is, and it's going to be inconvenient to shut it down, but at the same time, it needs to be repaired and replaced
because it gets a
really
lot of use.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to give you guys an update. So anytime you need someone to talk to you, I'd be happy to jump on.
And they can call you anytime at Public Works. Is it 263-8312?
No, 263-8933.
8933. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Well, we hope that you are able to join us next week. We are going to be talking to Charlotte Schaefer, the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine Executive Director. We'll be glad to hear from her and all the different projects that they are working on. Please remember tonight there is no Muscatine City Council meeting. And big thanks to our guest, Brian Stineman, Public Works Director, City of Muscatine. We hope you have a great rest of your day, a wonderful long weekend, a great Memorial Day, and remembering those who have served our country. Have a wonderful day. We hope to see you here next week on Our City.